again, everybody. Thank you for coming today. And my talk and presentation today is going to be focused on forgiveness, a healing practice. So if everybody could maybe just take one deep breath together to start out, that would be good. All of our thoughts, all of our emotions, may they all settle. When I was looking to see what the topic that was going to be for this Sunday, what it was going to be, I pulled out the paper with the order on it, and I was like, oh man, what a big topic this one is. And also kind of how right on Spirit kind of is poking me in that direction to kind of take a look. Time for some spring cleaning. What is stuck in there within ourselves? What needs to be brought to the forefront within ourselves, and how can we transmute it? That's really kind of the core of it all, because when you're a kid, you start to learn, and the adults teach you that it's always nice to say I'm sorry, and to be nice to your friends, and kind of work through problems together, learn how to problem solve and things like that. And saying I'm sorry is, and then you reluctantly sometimes say sorry, but inwardly you're still kind of holding something there. And what does forgiveness actually look like? And as we get older, there tends to be a lot more things to be to have forgiveness for in our lives. There tends to be every day more and more interactions with each other, and how do we transmute all of the things that happen to us? Because we do end up kind of stacking all of that stuff inside of ourselves, and we have to find a way where we can come to that centered place within ourselves to have a closer look at how we feel and where we're at, kind of take the internal temperature about how we feel about our progression in our lives. And I remembered an incident where, and this might have happened to some of you or many of you, when you're taking yoga and you're doing yoga postures led by an instructor, what I found was that sometimes when I would do these things, there would be like a release, like an emotional release. And it would always be invariably like a surprise inwardly. And of course, the mind sometimes in those, when you're doing those practices, kind of gets out of the way because you're focused on stretching and moving and doing those things and positioning your body in just the right way to release certain things. And then when it actually does happen, wow, you're like startled a little bit, and you're wondering, well, where did that come from? Where inside of me how was I holding that, or what was that all about? And because sometimes emotions that arise, they don't necessarily immediately connect to a memory or a thing that prompted it to come forth inside of yourselves. And so I wanted to remind everybody about that, and if you had any kind of experiences like that, or where you've just stood there looking at the vista or something like that, and all of a sudden you're just overwhelmed with a flood of sincere emotions from deep within your will. And how did that come into being in that moment? Because I believe that within ourselves we're so much more complex than our mind is even able to give ourselves credit for. Because of all the different layers within ourselves, the astral, the cosmic, and the physical. And when we arrive in this body, and all those layers become intertwined like an onion, and they play with each other for that moment in brief time when we're here alive in our physical surroundings, when we are here, because our spirit wanted to be here, because we wanted to learn really how to live and crack the code and solve the puzzle about where we are here, and what does it all come to, this physical life. What can I take away? What can my soul take away when we depart? And also with the idea of that we are all spiritual athletes in a way, we have to take a moment in grace and in humility and reassess what are some of the things that are holding us back to be able to fully feel at peace and fully feel at one with the moment at hand here, right now. When I started thinking about forgiveness and healing, of course, we think about forgiving other people and making sure that we tread lightly on those that are our friends and our loved ones. But the same holds true within ourselves. We tread lightly as much as we can within ourselves, because we know that things that create a hurt inside ourselves have a lasting impression within ourselves. And invariably, they have to come up, and they have to be recognized, and they have to be, in some form, released. And there is a part of us that has to do that work as a partner within ourselves. And there is this notion that there's like good karma and bad karma, and that somehow what we do has a lasting effect on ourselves, and it also has a lasting effect on our emotional well-being inside ourselves, our hurts and our healings. So I started to look into the law of karma in its entirety, and it refers to both conscious action and its consequences in the fullness of time. So looking at karma is better to look at karma as like attached to the wheel of time, and what our thoughts are and what our actions are. And thoughts, in a way, are actions as well. They're just inner actions, inner projections. And those actions, they do have a movement, a consequence that comes forth from those actions. So it's not so much that karma is bad or good, but that knowing that we have a deciding role as to how we lay out our future and our future for our loved ones, in a way, because everything kind of has ripples and bounces off itself and other things, and also the whole planet is important to maintain. And as a spiritual athlete, knowing that we are here to basically signal in every moment this desire for positive results also equates that we are also signaling internally that we want to have a clean, in a spiritual body within us. That anything that we encounter, that we wholeheartedly are able to transmute it, and that we're signaling to our karma, we are ready and we are able to move through anything that we may encounter. Because life has a way of confronting us with all the things that we are not really taking on, or showing us, if you will, hey, where are the corners we haven't swept in yet, deep within us. So, what I really am referring to are like those things, those samskaras, those things that are mental impressions or imprints, those things inside of our own chakra makeup that are resting there, and they are these memories that are creating these karmic impulses. Like when they're triggered, they produce a certain type of karma within us. And recognizing that these things can be shaken loose and freed and dissolved up into the light within our consciousness, and putting that work into our meditation creates this grace, this knowing that we are able to look inside of ourselves and look into the depth of our beings and see what are the things that are still clinging on, and what are the things I am ready in this moment to shake loose and be free from, if you will. Because life is always producing these things, these memories. That's part of that puzzle. But how we interact with that, how we engage with freeing ourselves, I think is key to getting ourselves to that point where we are really ready to take on the mantle of a deeper sense of life, a deeper sense of spiritual knowing, and viewing our world and our existence in a deeper sense, a freer sense. And as soon as I looked at what this topic was about, it triggered this thing inside of me that said, hey, I've always wanted to know what was in our chakra tree, deep inside, where are some of these things and where do they reside? And I started digging into it, and I wanted to share some of my findings today. I guess you could call it like mapping out where some of these hurts can reside, and some of our experiences can reside in multiple places and to various degrees inside of our chakras. And it's probably most important to note that when we really look at a hurt or a trauma inside of ourselves, something that really lingers inside of ourselves, an experience, to let it intuitively show us where it is and it residing. And that we kind of come to it rather than just suppose that, oh, because this happened or that happened, it's got to be over here in my inner makeup. But to be able to take that breath, that moment, that meditation time, to allow yourself to look at it and to feel where it is, and then to be able to go to that place and send white light there first and foremost, and then to be able to ask it what it needs and how to nurture it, and in yourself be able to take that process of transmuting it into something that can then move, that can then be free. And I find myself on these type of things inside of me that I am always revisiting those things over and over again with different angles, different thought forms, different ways of approach. And that is, I think, okay. And today we want to look at it from the angle of being in meditation, being in your center, and knowing that all the things that you feel that you are is part of you, and that is okay, and that your spirit is greater than any experience that we have here on earth, and that there is a way to inwardly understand this experience and to be able to revere its conclusion into the light, like to be able to understand it in such a way that you also love that experience. So in our makeup, in our spiritual makeup, we have the root chakra, and many of the traumas that can exist in our consciousness that have to do with feeling like life is unsafe or that you are existing on shaky ground may be in that area in your makeup. And the root chakra is basically the thing that says, I don't feel okay about this or that. It's kind of the holder of that feeling of this has to be worked on. And then the next area, the sacral area, can have be the place where we hold intense and, say, painful experiences, like moments of disaster, or if you're like daring to do something and it turned out to be really bad, and those kind of things, like feeling physically like you are not Superman, I guess, in a way, would be residing in that area. And the next area is the navel, or the solar plexus in our stomachs. And because this area has a lot to do with where our strength lies, and that consciousness of the warrior within ourselves, the opposite of that would be if there was a suppression of that energy, like tyranny or social pressure on you, things that make you feel like you can't fully express yourself. The next one would be the heart chakra. And that one deals with love and loss. When our heart is glowing, we can send out so much of ourselves out into the world. We are the healers and the lovers of all life. In all of our existence, we recognize that it really is all love. And the opposite of that is like if there are feelings of painful disappointments, or we perceive some kind of betrayal, or we recognize that the things in our lives can feel like abandonment, because life is in this moment, but our loved ones come and go. And we have to stay in the center of love to allow the life to happen no matter what. The next is the throat chakra. And it is that place where we express ourselves, where we give meaning to magic, where we are able to project our song into this world. And the opposite of that would be the silenced voice. That feeling that do you matter, or should you just retreat within? And we hide a little bit from ourselves and from our loved ones, from our environment. And the next one is the third eye. The place where we, in meditation, center our focus. The place that is our inner altar of introspection, and the place where we beckon that light of cosmic consciousness to appear in front of us. And we, as spiritual warriors, are preparing ourselves inwardly to see it. And the opposite of that would be if our realities become destabilized, or if it leads to a dangerous state of confusion within ourselves. It is really a matter of understanding that what we're seeing today in our physical is not the only reality present in this moment. And to always be ready if and when another spiritual awakening happens, that we are ready to receive that and be able to comprehend that. And that is what is asked of us through meditation, to create strength in our nervous system and in our spiritual makeup to have that vision and not to be afraid of that. And lastly, the crown chakra, the open door, that feeling of constant connection. And obviously, the opposite would be that disconnection to the divine, that feeling of separateness. In meditation, we practice moving that energy of spirit down from the crown of our heads into our beings. And in that movement, we create a way to sweep out those stagnant places and offer them up into the light, to be recharged and to be ever connected. Let us now move into our meditation time here. Let us find our seats. Let us take the time to ponder within ourselves. I don't believe truly that any of us are completely unscathed in this life from things that I would consider hurtful and things that are definitely in ourselves that need attention. And so as we sit here today, moving our consciousness inward, let us take this brief time to acknowledge that we have settled some samskaras, and they are willing to show themselves. And like a mother and like a father to a child, may we find them and hold them as the Spirit within us holds us. And may we find a way to forgive ourselves for not finding a way to release them. And may we always know that we are always working on that. As I sit here in contemplation, I am reminded about these videos that I used to watch, these documentaries about people having these near-death experiences and then coming back to talk about it. And part of their experiences was essentially this visit by the spirit within them. And the question was always posed, are you ready to go? Do you still have some things that you want to work out? And many times immediately in their visions, in their minds, in their experience, they are reminded about their loved ones that they want to see, or they want to finish something. If they had the opportunity to correct something. And that is many times what brings them back. And they go, and when they come back, they go for it. They correct it. They find those people that they want to see. They change their habits. They change because they know they've been to that place where that energy of the all-accepting Spirit has touched them, and in a way given them that full awareness that these things have no power over them and that they can release them. So much like a booger, traumas and hurts invariably in the end come out, get released. And I also know that in this life, we are able to do that practice of releasing that. We can do that if we position ourselves inwardly to that place where we have that feeling of freedom and release from it. And Norm always encouraged everyone, if you fall, to get back up, take another look, practice perfecting yourself, but don't hold the disappointment in being human to such a standard that it becomes a block within yourself. And remember that this work allows new opportunities to arise, new frames of mind to approach with life. It's transformational. It changes, and it has it creates the next thing to come, and that's what life is. What life is about. We're always seeking how to interact with life. So we pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and we recognize ourselves in a holistic way, and that all of our flaws and all of our triumphs are a part of us. And we release that disappointment or judgment that we have or could have for ourselves. So let us have a little prayer. Dear Spirit, you are within me and around me. Might my door always be open. And might your energy come forth and touch every part of me. Cleanse me. Might my heart open. Might I release that which is being asked to be released. Amen.
Morning finds you with me. When I look within me to find you there, day long finds you around me. When I look around me to find you there, in every face shines the sun. In every face shines the sun. Children, you gotta keep on trying now. Children, you gotta keep on trying now. Children, you gotta keep on trying for the sun. Find out, you gotta find out where you're going. Find out, you gotta find out where you're going. Find out, you gotta find out where you're going now. Evening finds me reflecting on the things I have tried for today. Stars and moon shine so brightly. I pray tonight we will find keep on trying for the sun. Find out, you gotta find out where you're going, find out. You gotta find out where you're going, find out. You gotta find out where you're going now. God gives us the freedom. He gives us the freedom.